Life can be really hard when you're not happy with who you are. And I was definitely in that boat for many years, especially in my high school, uni, and a little bit after years. I kind of was this loud and class clown type of kid, and the person that I wanted to be was much more like the reserved person who was, quiet, decisive, thoughtful, didn't speak out of turn. And so it was really hard as a kid for me to be someone that I didn't really like. And I know a lot of people have felt that feeling before, and maybe continue to feel that feeling. And what I will say is, if you're feeling that feeling, it's actually a good thing, because you are aware of who you want to become, and you're aware that that's not where you are right now. So if you think about it, you're not just unhappy for no reason, you're unhappy because of a reason, so you can fix that. So let's say you're at the bottom of a mountain and you know you need to get to the top. But don't get me wrong, it is a harsh reality to come to terms with, that you're not happy with who you are. But you've got to ask yourself the question, if I do what I'm doing now, what will I end up at? And if you're not happy with that, then something needs to change. And when people tell you that you have to love yourself, that quote sort of leaves out the bigger picture. It leaves out the point that you have to respect yourself. You have to become someone who you love in order to love yourself. Like, we have this internal guide that's telling us you should be more like this. This is a trait that you personally value, and you should work on that. And you need to basically become someone else, as weird as that sounds. Alan Watts has a quote, "You are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago." And I really love that quote because it sort of unlocks this thing in your mind that you don't actually have to be who you were. You're not who you were yesterday, you are who you are now, and you have choices that you can make. It reminds me of this story when I was in high school, and this girl asked me what class I had, and I said, "I've got math." And she said, "Oh, I could never do that. Like, I'm so bad at math." And I remember thinking and realizing in that moment, well, no one starts out good at math. Well, some people have natural inclinations, but I definitely didn't, and I sort of built towards it. And it's just this idea that we need to escape these stamps that we put on ourselves of I'm bad at math. Because I know for a fact she wasn't working at math because she sort of was so convinced that she was bad that she could never improve. And I know that's not true. We constantly give ourselves these labels that stop us from being who we want to be. We say, "I'm depressed, I'm an overweight person," things like that. But what you really need to be saying is, "I'm currently depressed," or "I'm currently an overweight person." And detach from this thing that just because you are that today doesn't mean you're going to be like that later or tomorrow or in 20 years. Because that's how you get stuck. That's how you get stuck saying, "I'm not a smart person. I can never achieve anything," or "That's not me," or I'll never be that guy's a fit and healthy person. I'll never be a fit and healthy person." Because that's the kind of shit that I used to say. I was like a fat kid running around thinking that athletic and fit people were just gifted that, and some people were, but somewhere along the line, I changed my thinking and I said, well, you know what? I'm going to do everything in my power to become someone healthier. And years go by, and I wouldn't have believed what I could have achieved back then. It's just that I stopped telling myself that I was a fat person forever. And you can do that with any domain of life. You can say, I'm now smart. I'm going to be a smart person in the future because I'm going to work towards it. So it's important to talk about what you mean when you say "I am" something, because you are not a late person or an unfit person. You are the self inside. I know it's getting a little pseudoscience, but it's true. And you're the spirit within it that you get to decide. That's what happens when you close your eyes and you still think and you still talk to yourself. You have so many decisions that you can make. And when you look at it I'm currently this thing, and I'm going to be something else. Like, it implies that there's something else for you, that you're not just that. So it's a really powerful tool. Just that little change of saying currently makes you realize that I don't have to be like, there's a potentially greater me out there, or a me that I desire more. All that is to say, to be happier, more confident, and be more comfortable in your own skin, you need to actually become someone else, as weird as it sounds. There's a quote from Steve Maraboli where he says, "The universe doesn't give you what you ask for with your thoughts. It gives you what you demand with your actions." So there's an ideal version of yourself in the future. Let's say you are a basketball player who wants to make the NBA. Between where you are now and where your goal is, there's a set of steps that you have to take to get there. And those limiting labels that we talked about earlier are only going to like prevent you from doing that. But if you say, I'm currently not good enough to make the NBA, what do I have to do to get there? You look up the training programs that they do, the critical thing here is to be the future you, or embody the habits of the future you that you're looking for now in your life today. Because if a basketball player waits until he makes the NBA to train like really hard, he's not going to make it, right? He needs to train like he's an NBA player today in order for him to fulfill that prophecy that he set for himself. Whether or not you move towards your ideal self or not is up to you, basically. And if you keep using labels like I can't do that, or I'm not a fast runner, whatever it is, whatever your label is, if you just choose to believe that you can't change, or that you shouldn't change because you should love yourself for who you are, then you're never gonna see any progress, and you're never gonna get to a place where you're proud of what you've become. You might be thinking, well, isn't it inauthentic to become someone else? Like, shouldn't I just be happy with who I am? But I've thought about that too, and I think it comes down to this, is that the person that you want to be, that you desire, is extremely unique in itself. Like, someone that I want to be, let's say I want to become an NBA player, but someone else might want to become a baker. And so we have completely unique goals. So the only danger is that you're aiming for something that you don't want. So that's a really important point. You need to figure out what it actually, that you authentically want from yourself in your life, not what other people want from you. And that is the most unique and authentic goal that you can possibly have. And so I don't buy the counter argument that it's inauthentic to try and change who you are in a way that you become someone that you like love and respect. I want to summarize by really drilling this point home, that who you are in a year, 2 years, 5 years will depend on what you do right now, today. Because most people think that you have to be happy in order to smile. And as corny as it sounds, you actually need to smile to be happy. Because you can't arrive at a destination by taking the wrong path. Like, if this road leads to happiness, you can't be on the sad path and moping around and hanging your head and expecting that one day you will just magically be happy and then you'll be able to smile that day. No, you have to think, what would a happy person do? If I want to go from sad to happy, what would a happy person do? They would probably go outside more, go on more walks. They'll probably talk to strangers. They'll probably go get a coffee, chat to the barista. They'll call their friends, even if they don't feel like it. That's the thing. You can't get to a destination that you're not at by doing what you're currently doing. And maybe you don't agree, and that's okay. You can tell me below. But I really believe that I've taken myself out of some sad places, some physically bad places, through pretending basically that I am something else. Or pretending is probably the wrong word, but embodying something that I want to become earlier than I've become it. So what you want to do is, 1, consciously reflect on who you are right now. 2, figure out who it is you want to be and the traits that you want. 3, figure out a way or research, create processes and systems for you to do that consistently over a long term that's realistic. And 4, just do that for a long time. And if you do that, if you get unhappy with where you are now and you realize that it's you take responsibility for becoming what you want to be, there's no stopping you. Like, there's no limit to what you can be. And I guarantee you that you won't believe who you've become. If I would have shown myself now to myself 10 years ago, that kid wouldn't have believed it. And that's really inspiring to me. And that's why I'm so passionate about this topic and why I wanted to make this. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found value out of that. If you did, leave a like, please. It really helps me figure out what works and what doesn't work. And leave a comment below. I know this is a controversial topic, so I'm happy to chat about it. And yeah, if you want to see more of these, they come out weekly. So just subscribe to the channel. So yeah, thank you very much.